Hey everyone, this is Arsenovia here. Normally I would not do this, but consider the fact that Namco Bandai has made it impossible for me to record footage on my PS4 and to make it easier to edit my own footage and do it that way, I have to record it like this. Normally I would not do it this way, but considering it's the cheapest option and it's the fastest way, I can give you my opinion on what I think of this game. I was considering doing a Let's Play on YouTube to celebrate my strike being lifted, but you know what? Namco Bandai won't let me stream this on YouTube, so yeah, fucking Namco Bandai and their bullshit. But maybe I could give you a brief history about the Gundam Versus games for you guys on YouTube. You know I'm a Gundam fan. I've been a fan since 2002, and I've been playing this series since Federation vs. Zeon, and the games that came out after it. Most of them stayed in Japan. This is the third game that's been released outside Japan, and the first Versus game that's come out in the 15 years. Shit, has it been really that long? No, it hasn't. 12. Whatever, it's been a long time since we last got a Versus game. And the first Versus game that isn't a game that involves the factions between the Federation and Zeon and the EU and the Titans. What's the premise behind this game? Well, it's a fighting game, not your typical one, but it's an arena-style fighting game where you choose your mobile suits. Of course, you can't just choose the best suit and expect to win, because it requires you to cooperate with your teammates in order to ensure victory. Depending on what you do, how well you cooperate with your teammate and how well they cooperate with you could make the difference between victory and defeat. I know through experience. The times that I've won in a team battle, I've won because I cooperated with my teammate. My teammate cooperated with me. How do you do this? If you're playing as a mobile suit and the mobile suit you're fighting against, it has a bad matchup, you let your partner take on that suit that has a better matchup, and you take on the suit that you have a better matchup against, vice versa. And of course, if you have an incompetent partner that is more interested in the amount of kills that he can get, it could really fuck you over. Now, the cost system in this is a way to balance the game. So for suits who are really powerful, like the Freedom, the Wing Zero, the Unicorn, Suzabi, Zeta Gundam, and etc. That way, those who die as those suits, it will cost them greatly. Now, the more the mobile suit will cost, the more the consequences will be if they die, because you get 1,000 points if you're playing 2 versus 2. About 1,500 to 1,600 if you're playing 3 versus 3, which is a new feature in this series. Now, online, how is it? I played some matches online. I think it runs pretty good for the most part. There are times where it doesn't run as well as it should, but this is Namco Bandai we're talking about here, so I don't think anyone should be surprised about their servers. Now, unlike certain games in the past, we can play against players worldwide, which means because the Japanese players are the ones that primarily play this, the community, I think, will last a lot longer, because the best players in the world in this game are Japanese players. Now, if you're not interested in online, is this worth your money? It depends how big of a Gundam fan you are. If you're a Wing fanboy, well, all the Gundams from Gundam Wing are playable, with the exception of Wing Gundam, Shinlong, and the original Death Scythe. Pretty much all of them are there. However, if you're more of a fan of the Endless Waltz designs, they're not in here. But this is the first time since Gundam Wing Endless Duels that all 5 Gundams have been playable. And also, this is the first game that Ultron, the TV version, is playable in a Gundam game. I think that the roster is really good. I think it does a great service to fans of, throughout multiple eras of Gundam. You have the original series, which of course, why would you go without that? Zeta Gundam, Double Zeta Gundam, Victory, F91, Gundam Wing, Gundam Seed, the first season of Double O, Victory, I think I've already mentioned that, Turn A, and many more. There's 94 playable mobile suits in the base roster. There are DLC suits that are out right now. Not all of them at the point of this recording are available. Unless you imported the Japanese version, you can't get mobile suits like the Buster, the Night Isle, or Age 1. Now, how's the gameplay? I think it's really good. And then again, the Versus series have always been good from a gameplay standpoint. In my opinion, this is probably the best Gundam games out there. It's the Gundam games that have been consistent in their quality. The controls are, they're simple to grasp. It's not too difficult to learn to play this game, but it is a difficult game to master if you're planning on playing competitively. Some of the stuff you could argue is like Smash Brother melee level in terms of mastery, like in terms of way you dash. I'm not going to describe the competitive aspect of this game because I'm not nowhere near as good to explain it. There's some other YouTube channels you can find. I think this game is really good. I think it's the best Gundam game that we've got in the West in a long time. And not to mention, it's the first non-Dynasty Warriors Gundam game we've gotten in a long time. And that's worth something. So if you're a Gundam fan and you want to support a Gundam game that isn't Dynasty Warriors, but you want a good fighting game as well, I definitely recommend this. 10 out of 10. I think it's really fucking good. And if any of you want to play me online and you have a PS4, I'll battle you at any time. This is Darcenovia over and out. This is not the way I would like to review a game, but I've already told you earlier in the video, Namco Bandai made it impossible for me to use my own footage, and I have to do it this way. Not to mention, I don't have to risk getting a copyright strike because of certain people. Later, guys.